Thank you, Ratna. Thank you, everyone. Firstly, a very good evening and warm welcome to all of you for joining us today. It's such a fantastic honor and pleasure to be here with all of you. It's the first event for us in Hyderabad, meeting some of you who was creating some amazing companies. And tonight is your night. I would like to start off with giving you a big round of applause for getting felicitated today. Yeah. So when I was asked to give sort of the speech, I thought initially I would come and welcome all of you and say a few words. But I thought it'll be, we being a research firm, I thought it'd be interesting to share some of the research that we did very recently, a couple of weeks back, and take you through what happened in the world last couple of weeks. Or last 1 year in terms of wealth creation and value creation. And the core of what Hurun does is to try and speak about the story of economy through the eyes of entrepreneurs and companies. We're not so much about the rich list and wealth and all that stuff, but we are more about the stories behind wealth creation and value creation. And we believe that a country like India, to become a developed nation, wealth creation has to play a super critical role. And that's exactly the role that all of you are playing. When you're creating wealth, you're also nation building. So I just want to take you through some of the findings of the rich list, which was launched a couple of weeks back. The world now has about 4,000 US dollar billionaires. Despite all the wars and all the turmoil that's happened, the world created 2 new billionaires every day. So that wealth creation is happening at record pace, more than ever. The cumulative value of all the wealth created in the last 1 year, all the entrepreneurs featured in the Hurun Global Rich List is about $22 billion, more than the GDP of US. So that's quite interesting. The wealth creation is happening at record pace. And the wealth was created more faster than any point in the history of the world, right? So 28% overall, the cumulative wealth went up year on year. For the first time, we have someone who's crossed the $700 billion mark. We all know who is Elon Musk. When we put out the Hurun Global Rich List 3-4 years back, we predicted the first trillionaire in the world would come in the year 2030. But seems like we might have the first trillionaire in the next couple of years. So Elon Musk, and we predicted in 2030 we might have maybe 7 to 8 US dollar trillionaires. The more than the making of trillionaires, what is interesting is that the new super wealth creators are coming from AI, energy transition, and new tech. And elephant in the room is AI. I think what is fundamentally different when it comes to AI-based wealth creation compared to earlier technologies is that AI is not limited to just the software, but also the underlying hardware infrastructure behind it. So the moat is not just limited to few lines of code, but also the hardware and the infra and the whole ecosystem. That's why the AI-based wealth creation is going to stay for long. It is not just going to be a blip in the history. It's going to actually change the whole history for times to come. That's one interesting trend that's come. So if you look at some of the trends, there are about 114 billionaires from AI companies, 46 new entrants, and $380 billion, which is basically the cumulative value of the entrepreneurs who are from Anthropic alone. And your ChatGPT guy is about $5 billion now. And for the first time, China has overtaken USA in terms of number of billionaires in the last 3-4 years. And interesting part is China has been having a sort of a bad 2-3 years. But the Hurun Global Rich List kind of proves that Chinese economy is back in action, a lot more wealth creation happening. What is interesting is that about 14 years back, when we put out the Global Rich List, most of the wealth creation in China happened from real estate, infrastructure, hardcore stuff, right? 5-6 years back, the wealth creation happened in energy transition. Now, most of the wealth creation is happening in AI and new tech and so on. So around 287 new entrants, 75% are self-made. And apparently, some 80% of the entrants from China in the Hurun Global Rich List never existed for 15 years back. All of them are new entrants. That's quite exciting as well. So it is a good year for AI, green energy, China going global, copper and metal, cybersecurity, shipping. Not so great year for all those industries that got affected by AI, which is SaaS, India's IT outsourcing families, legacy financial data terminals, crypto speculators, and so on. So one interesting point that I want to share is, where do AP and Telangana stands across Hurun list? I read, of course, the first thing is the Hurun Rich List, about 125 entrants from AP and Telangana with a cumulative wealth of about 85,000 crores, which is basically 8.5 lakh crores across the Hurun Rich List. Interesting part is there are about 3 artists who feature in the Hurun's top 50 art list, which come from AP and Telangana. We also published a list called India's top 200 self-made entrepreneurs. This is basically a list of companies that are founded after the year 2000 and who's created significant value, and about 8 companies are featured in that list as well. India 500, which is basically India's most valuable 500 companies, in which AP and Telangana contributes about 38 companies. So if you look at AP and Telangana as an economy, it's very vibrant as the panels that we're going to witness today, because we have a panel on AI, new tech, new energy, biotech. So we have a great panel today. So this is the wealth creation, value creation, how AP and Telangana is adding to the overall nation building. It's very much representative or very much visible in across the Hurun list, be it the wealth creation list or the startup list or the art list or list of companies that are going public. AP and Telangana has got significant representation across all the sector. This is one interesting thing that I want to show you, which will be relevant for everyone in this room. So when we put out the India Rich list about 14 years back, India had about 50 US dollar billionaires. Read it as wealth creation, more than the billionaires tag, it's more about the super valuable companies being created. So India had about 50 US dollar billionaires. In 14 years, the number has gone up to 360 plus. And when we started, about 15 cities contributed to that 50 billionaires. Now it's about 110 plus cities, villages, towns contributed to super wealth creators. And at that time, India's GDP was about 1.8 trillion. Now it's about 4 trillion. So roughly we are about 2 trillion in terms of GDP. And in many estimates across government and various estimates, we estimate that in 8 to 9 years, India's GDP is going to double. That means we're going to add the whole of what is India today, which is about 4 trillion in the next 8 to 9 years. So which really means there is going to be a significant growth across all the sectors, and India would fire across all the cylinders from the next 6, 7, 8 years. So it's very exciting to build in India, to be an entrepreneur in India, to be in the top, be as a professional in India. That's quite an interesting time to be a part of India. But what I'm excited to know from some of you in the room is that when India is going to build add the next 4 trillion to its GDP, I want to hear from some of you in terms of what you think are the next top 3 sectors are. So I'll probably come down to you and ask a couple of you this question. Maybe I'll start with you, Ms. Saluja. So if I have to ask you, what are the top 3 bets that you would do in the next decade?
I mean, I think it's a no-brainer. It's going to be AI, energy transition, and I think infrastructure.
Infrastructure, okay, great. Who else would I ask? Pramod, what about you?
I think energy is a big space. I personally believe that we have to move to solar, and that is plenty available with our country. Defense is going to be a very big sector. Of course, AI, everybody wants to follow AI, right? These are the 3 sectors I'm actively following.
So, Maima, I really have to ask you as well.
Biotech.
Of course, yes.
I agree. AI, infra, defense, all kinds of renewable energies, and biotech too. Yeah.
So I'll possibly conclude with Shaji. And what do you think? You're the big man today.
I think the first order impact and first order beneficiaries are going to be exactly what he said, right? All the companies who are somehow involved in the AI enablers, especially, I think our game in AI is going to be in India is going to be AI enablers, like your data centers, and eventually, if you are able to make chips in India, I think that's going to be big for us. I think we lost the ground on LLM already. I think we're going to be building only the, I would call second order beneficiary that we're going to be in the AI space. That's something that I look forward to. In fact, a lot of news around data centers. I still feel in India, energy transition is great. A lot of beneficiaries on the energy transition. As long as Trump is there, defense globally is going to continuously do very well. I think there is a big play there, and security and defense. I still feel in India, BFSI is going to be the darling of the market. I'm not going to, agree to, somebody is actually not rooting for BFSI. I think BFSI, the bank growth, expansion, all that is true. And then the second order of BFSI is business like us. There is enough tailwind for us. Lastly, one last business that I think will do very well, and this is the ground for that, healthcare with the pricing power, I think is going to do extremely well. I think these are 4, 5 industries I think will continue to do well, yeah. and will be a biggest contributor at GDP and wealth creation.